Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Swaggle Talks to Dealers video. Here we are, Wondercon Q2 of 2023, and I wanted to take the opportunity to ask these experts what collectors are buying these days. Are there specific trends going on? Are people focused on the wall or in the bins? I wanted to know the answer. It is always a pleasure being able to listen to these guys and get their takes on the state of the market. Obviously, this one is a bit on the longer side, so get yourself some bags and boards and settle in. I hope you all enjoy. All right, well, I am here with Harry from Finest City Comics. Harry, how's it going, man?
How's it going? Good, good.
Well, you know, we're WonderCon 2023.
I know, right?
How's the show been so far?
It has been good. This feels more like pre-pandemic conventions as far as the feel and the customer base.
Yeah.
So it's not as just overcrowded and overstimulated.
A little more chill.
Yeah, it's a little more chill. So, but overall, it still feels like the same base of the real collectors are still here. The people that have been interested in comics, they're still here and they're still moving around, still buying stuff. Still seems kind of very similar to, like I said, pre-pandemic.
Got it. Well, so in general, like, has there been any kind of like trends or people kind of coming up to you being like, oh, do you have this book or do you have that? Like, what do you get the sense of collectors looking for these days?
I think specs are still always going to be popular.
Sure.
In a sense. One thing I've noticed from this weekend is a lot of Galactus purchasing. So that seems to be hot, but I mean, everybody's kind of expecting him to be the next big bad. So I think people are kind of preparing for it.
Gotcha.
More than anything else. So.
What about like I remember last time, it was really funny. Last time I think we spoke,
yeah.
I was asking about like, some underrated, undervalued things, and you were one of the first people that was like, get that DC stuff. DC's
stuff.
undervalued,
Yes.
Whatever. And then now we have the James Gunn thing.
Yeah.
Have you felt that at all? Like that surge to DC? Like some other people have been mentioning they feel it. Other dealers here. What about you?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely saw it for the first couple months after. I feel like it's tapered off a little bit, that urge to go and grab everything. But definitely still a little bit of volume has increased as far as sales regarding DC stuff.
Gotcha.
So.
Now, I won't say that you do this, but okay. I've talked to some other dealer, or I talked to, sometimes people in the comments are always talking about, some of the shows and stuff, and like sometimes like wall book prices being still very, very high, relative to maybe some of the recent comps.
Yeah.
What's your feeling about that overall? Like, do you think there will ever be a point where, prices are things always just going to be kind of random? Like, is that just kind of like what someone's price is their price, or is there going to be a point where it's like, okay, what is maybe reflective of like a correction of 2023 is going to be reflected in like the prices that you see everywhere in stores, even and comic book shows?
Yeah, I actually think so. I had this discussion just yesterday with someone, and I actually feel like some of these dealers, they went through the heartache of repricing everything back in 2021 because they felt like they were losing out on a lot of value. So, they go through repricing 10, 20,000 comic books back in 2020, and they've just left it there. So you'll know when you look through them in 2023 when a book has been priced.
Yeah. I'll notice that the sticker color is different now. Clearly that one's a little aged, a little older.
Yeah, but I mean, like the price, you should be able to obviously figure out. There has been a clear correction in the prices of a lot of books. In my opinion, I feel like we've hit the bottom as far as for the time being. I don't think we're going to go any lower in prices. So I would say it's a good time to buy 2023 right now.
Yeah.
If you're into the hobby, I think it's a good time to make investments on some of the bigger keys. I don't think we're going to go any further down.
Yeah.
So.
And you definitely notice, I feel like when things are priced like competitively, like there's demand. Like people will buy them for sure.
Forever and ever, yeah. As far as final thoughts, I would say collect what you like. So don't care what other people think about what you're collecting. As long as you like it, stay with it.
Yeah. Well, sound advice. All right, well, I am with Nico from the Blue Chip Comic. Nico?
What's happening, bro?
Always good to see you,
Likewise.
man. Always good to see you.
Always good to see you.
Here we are.
Always good to listen to you, also, TV.
Well, now the people want to listen to what you have to say, because we're at WonderCon 2023, the show where there's no big books here.
No, there's no big
Nobody spends money at shows like this.
There's no big books.
Yeah. nobody buys anything.
No, not at Wondercon, not at Comixs.
Yeah. But I just wanted to ask you, it's always, great stuff or people love it when I get to go around to the show and just talk to all the dealers. And, let me just start with, how's the show been so far? What's been your feeling of it?
Friday was a little slow. Sunday was slower, but Saturday was great.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like there was a lot of people, and on Saturday, the crowd on Friday felt a little bit thin. But generally speaking, like, do you feel like being set up here, you've noticed any kind of trends of what people are buying? Like, what are comic collectors looking for these days? Do you feel like it's any different than it's been in any other shows, or what's your feeling?
I think right now raw books are on fire. Raw keys are on fire. I noticed raw books are flying off the shelf. I mean, we can't keep raw books in, which is unfortunate because we've never spent more on grading than in the last 3 months personally. Sure. But literally hundreds and hundreds of keys. However, I feel that raw books, high value, high quality raw books are really the big thing here. Right.
Do you think are people kind of looking, like, hoping they can get maybe a little bit of equity in that raw book, so that if they themselves are graded, or do you think that there's people that just like having raw from a collection side?
Well, I think you mentioned something similar to that on one of your shows, and I think that it had probably an impact in the market because I've noticed a lot of raw books have been going, and a lot of people just don't want to pay that premium for the grading, especially now that they, there's that grading fee if they send it in themselves that some of them may want to do, some of them may not want to do, but I just feel that the value in that raw book, like today, I almost bought an AF-15 raw. It was a lower grade AF-15, but it was raw. But the guy wanted a graded price for AF. I get it. It's an AF-15. It's an AF-15, right?
At that book, yeah.
But I mean, like, I'm not going to pay exactly what it sold for. What if the guy had a bad day, the grader, and it came back a half a point? I take that huge hit. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. So
yeah, there is that risk. Yeah. So that is kind of an interesting thing where people, on the one hand, you would want to buy the graded book because you know exactly what you're getting. So you effectively, that's what you're paying for. But on the other hand, if people can find a little bit more equity, but then again, there's the gamble. It's the risk. What about as far as like types of books? Like, obviously Marvel's always popular. Some people have been saying like DC, or being really excited about the potential of DC comic books. Have you noticed people coming up to your booth and asking you, hey, do you have such and such? Or hey, do you have this? Or,
DC keys have never been better. Never been hotter, never moved more, never been more on fire. In fact, I'm personally looking to pick up as many DC keys as I possibly can. If you guys know someone selling, huge collection. We bought one yesterday, one 3 days ago. We're picking up DC collections all the time, especially if keys in high grade. So feel free, let us know. We're happy to work with you guys. But I personally am hunting for DC keys more now than ever before as
Interesting,
well.
Yeah. And do you think that that's the market as well? Like, do you get the sense from collectors?
Well, I think, definitely. But also, I've never had more people come to a booth ever.
Right.
I mean, more people came to this booth this weekend than my last 5 shows collectively asking for DC keys.
Wow, yeah.
And a lot of those guys are hunting those very undervalued DC keys. We sold more DC slab keys off the wall than we've ever done as well.
Interesting. Yeah. And is that Golden Age stuff, or is that still like what age?
Mostly silver.
Silver.
Mostly silver, some bronze, and a little golden.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the best book we sold this weekend was the 9.4 FF5.
Okay. The Dr. Doom. Yeah.
That was the biggest book.
Right.
But I got a lot of inquiries about the Batman 1. Just one guy. He's a huge. There's a huge collector supposed to come back. In an hour. We'll see.
Yeah.
So
what's your kind of general sense? I mean, San Diego Comic-Con is going to come up. I don't know if you guys will be there, but you're San Diego base.
Yep.
So that's kind of your hometown.
San Diego, LA. Yeah. Yes, sir.
When you go into the next shows, or when you take information from this show and you go into the next ones for the rest of the year, does it change what you think you're going to bring to the show? Because obviously you have tons of inventory. So are you thinking like, okay, this, based on people's behaviors here, this is how I want to fill my booth next time?
Yeah. Well, put it this way: we are very excited about bringing bigger, better value to the marketplace. So the first thing we do when we get back to the office, we scratch the board and we say, look, what did we do good this show? What can we do better? And how can we bring more value to the customers? Like, I love being able to allow people to take slabs off the wall, raw books out of the boxes, and we're giving them 50% under market on a lot of these books. The reason being is because we want to create the relationship long term. So number one concern is, how do we bring more value to the marketplace? Number one. Number two is, what books we're selling. Good.
Right.
And so obviously DC is selling better than ever before, so we're probably going to be like I said, I'm requesting DC collections.
What about you? Obviously at the show, you have opportunity to buy some stuff. Are you looking for anything specific?
It's funny, the booth that I bumped into you at, I bought a DC key.
Yeah, you did. That's right.
Even the dealer, he's a huge dealer, John Torpedo, a great friend of mine. He goes, Nakota, what the hell are you doing looking at such an inexpensive book? Because it wasn't that expensive.
Right.
It was a first.
The Robin.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I literally, sold every one I had. So I bought another one.
Right. Well, that's what you're saying. Is like you have to bring whatever those customers are asking for, right?
Yep.
So you're always looking for those keys as well.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
100%. Even if I have to buy in at the market to have it available for the customer.
Right.
And I don't always make money doing that.
Right.
Sometimes I actually lose money if I don't keep proper inventory, which we do our best to do, but at least we have blue chip keys and everything that falls underneath for people when we go to the show. And that's really our third category. Our third category is, do we have a selection of quality books that people are literally going after? Their grails, their mega keys, the ancillary grails, you know what I mean?
Right,
so,
right. Well, that's what a lot of other dealers, in asking this question, kind of mention where it's like, they felt like, it's more diverse in terms of what people are looking for than it had been in previous shows.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I got to say, it's a great show overall, with even today being slow, but I bought well.
Right.
I had the guys man the booth, and I literally went around and I started buying up.
Yeah, I saw you out there. I saw you working.
Yeah, man.
I saw you working.
I'm not messing around.
Well, Nico, as always, great pleasure talking to you.
No, it's always good.
Yeah,
Always good,
we'll see you at the next show.
Some of the best content out there, guys. I'm telling you. We make our employees, no joke, all joke aside, they walk in the door, I walk in the door. Your shows, the education factor alone is superb. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
You don't have to do it, but I appreciate you doing it. Support the show in any way you guys can. It's one of the best out there.
Well, I'm back with him.
Hey, everybody.
Christian from...
Wait. Get your swaggle on right here. Follow, like, subscribe. This is the Thinking Man's Guy. This is the upper middle class comic podcast. Right here. Swaggle. And also get on the Kickstarter. Let's go. What are you waiting for?
I appreciate that. Well, thank you. Thank you for introducing me when it was my job to introduce you. We're back with Christian, Elveen's Comics here.
Hey everybody, how you guys doing? Hope you're doing wonderful. Sunday at Wondercon. One of my favorite shows of the year. Sunday's a fun day.
Yeah.
I'm a swaggle. I'm getting my own swaggle on right now.
This is your home show in a way.
This is one of my home shows.
Yeah.
I live 20 minutes up the road for sure.
So 2023 WonderCon.
Love it.
I was telling you before we started rolling, I was saying that I'm going to change your name to Nostradamus here, okay? Because last time we talked, you were talking about how James Gunn, the James Gunn effect, and everyone's going to get the DC stuff.
I did say the James Gunn effect.
And I had to pay homage to that. I had to appropriate your prediction a little bit and talk about it in the video myself and carry on the James Gunn effect.
It's real.
So I'm
still to be felt.
So I'm curious now. March 2023, WonderCon.
5 months later?
5 months later. What are collectors buying? What's this show been about? What's the next project? Or what are you feeling?
A couple of things that I'll say. And first off, thank you for the opportunity. And comic book people, you're awesome. Thank you. Here's what I'll say is there's all kind of buyers, right? There are guys that are saying, like, I want to spend $50,000 on a book.
Right.
I want $10,000 on a book. Where's the Amazing Fantasy 15s?
Right.
Like, people are saying that. Also, people are happy to buy stacks of dollar books, right? So here's the first thing that I'll say is the YouTube world, the Instagram world, the Facebook world, I've never been on Facebook, but that world is such a small percentage of the comic book collecting people.
Very true.
There are so many people that buy books with real money, they give me money, they buy books, and they're like, do you have a business card? And I'm sort of dumb, I don't have one. And I'm like, do you have Instagram? And they're like, no. We just sort of think that everyone is in it like we are. It's not. I have a lot of guys that come and they got a list. They got the paper in their hand. They got lists. They're like, they're checking off lists. There are run fillers. There are guys that want to get Power Pack 9. They are right now. can be hard sometimes to stack Power Pack 9. And if you're a person that maybe in it for like the financial part of it,
Right.
there might not always be a lot of money in you buying Power Pack 9.
Right.
Right? But that's where a person like myself that has like, what, I don't know, 40, 50 long boxes here. There we are. 40, 50 long boxes, I can have that, right? Because I'll get a big collection. So the first thing is people buy comic books because they love them and they want to collect the run and they want to have them.
Yeah.
The MCU effect, the James Gunn effect, that this is signed on Netflix means nothing to them.
Right.
They have a list and they want it.
Right.
And there's a lot of people that do that. And what they end up doing is they end up buying this. They end up getting a stack.
Right.
So in my regard, if I have the stack, then that kind of is good.
Yeah.
Right? So that is good. So honestly, I bet you that we've had 20 guys with lists, 25 guys with lists, and all those guys buy things. They all want to buy, right? Now, we sell a ton of books off the wall. So there's also those buyers. And those guys they have a list too. And there's two kind of guys. There's some kind of guys that are like, okay, like what just got announced on Swaggle, what is coming up, you think Werewolf by Night did really great, and it did. So now you're like, they're gonna go full Marvel Monsters. I think they're gonna do full Marvel Monsters, like full. Like that's one side note. So they might think, okay, where's the Frankenstein books?
Right.
Where's the Tomb of Dracula books? Where's the Werewolf by Night? I want to get Lilith. I want to get all of those ancillary characters.
Yeah.
And they're trying to think 2-3 years ahead of the game, right?
Right.
And then some guys are like, oh, this just got announced. I just saw the commercial for this. Let me get that book too. So there's those type of buyers also. I think we have to say one thing that Swaggle talks about. He's smart, uses numbers. Is the prices the same? There has been a lowering of the prices. Does that mean that no one's buying comics?
Oh, no.
No. I've sold a ton of books. I mean, empty long boxes under the table, like multiple empty long boxes. So the books are being bought, but is it the same? Like I remember we talked about one time, and you talked about in your video, can you buy the book and 10 days later sell it for 40%?
Right.
No, unless you just happen to hit an announcement.
Yeah. Or you found it in a dollar bin.
You found it in a dollar bin, so yes, right? But it's tough to go to a dealer and take 4 books off the wall. I'm going to sit on this for 2 weeks and I'm going to make it. That's just harder now unless you get that hit, right? And that's something we're going to talk about too, if that's even right or not. So that's just a fact, right? So I think the third type of buyer, and there's a lot of these, where they come up to me and they're like, hey, I don't really collect comics. I watch them. I'm interested in it. My uncle does comics. My sister does comics. What would you tell me to look at? And the first thing I say is, what do you like? Because if you like it, it doesn't really matter kind of what you paid for it or if it goes down in value if you like it, right?
Right.
You know, I like Ben & Jerry's ice cream. There's sometimes I pay $6.50 for it. Sometimes it's on sale and I pay $3. I don't really care. I'm buying Ben & Jerry's ice cream because I've got myself in a position in my life where I can buy Ben & Jerry's ice cream. I don't care what it costs.
Some people like it as like, it just looks nice on the shelf.
That's
they
right.
just want it
That's
because
right.
they like
People
the
will
art
walk
of
in
it.
and be like, oh my gosh, this looks great. I don't even know what this book is, but man, Christian, look how nice that looks.
Right.
That looks great. I want that book. And some people are like, oh, I want it because it's the first anti-venom. So there's those type of buyers also. I think the thing especially for your channel, and I'd imagine what your clientele is there's a financial question that they're asking, right? Has a lot of the books, the higher end CGC books, gone down in value? Yes, they have. So when you look at books like this, which are really good books, right? Cameo Wolverine, Mary Jane, X-Men, 94 double signed. If I would have sold those a year ago, 14 months ago, there'd been a lot more money I could have got back in there,
right?
For sure. And that's one of the things that you really focus on is the value, the graphs, and all that kind of stuff. But the thing to realize is just because blank book has gone down 25% doesn't mean someone's not buying that book.
Oh yeah, no. It's not.
Right? So that's, I think, sometimes where I see where it says, oh no, like the world is falling. It's not. I mean, I don't want to be braggadocious, but we've sold a lot of books, right? And like a lot of my friends will be, Christian, how was the show? And they're sort of asking like, how was the money? And for me, that's not what I'm dealing with, truthfully. We're about 3 things. We're about people, we're about relationships, we're about experience. If we're able to provide those things, then the other things will happen. Are the books selling for the same overall? No. Are there books that are selling more now than they sold 4 months ago? Yeah, there are. And those are the riding the waves of it, right? So I think, are there people that are still buying on the announcements? Yes. Is that the best decision to make? That's the thing for you to decide, right? I always say buy what you like. And more than being the James Gunn effect guy, I'd rather be the buy what you like guy. I'm a Valiant collector.
Right. Shout out to Dinesh.
Shout out to Dinesh, right? I'm a Valiant collector, and really shout out to Jim Shooter.
Well,
really.
yes.
Shout out to Shooter, and of course my friend Dinesh. But I'm a Valiant collector, so that's what I collect. I mean, I buy Valiant books that I have 7 copies of. And I still will buy a Rye 3 just because it's a Rye 3. How do I not buy it, right? So you buy what you like. But when it comes to the money part of it, that's why watching your channel and doing your own research and finding out is really, really smart and important. Knowing how the business works. I'll tell you, I just was, again, not the name drop, maybe a little bit, an amazing conversation with Steve Brock today. It was awesome. He started CGC, he started CBCS, and now he's at Comic Link. And I would wonder how Comic Link worked. I've heard some things like, how does it work, right? And he sat there with me, explained it to me, and talked to me. I might never do Comic Link, maybe I will, but now I have information.
Right.
And information is really so important to know.
Last thing before I let you go.
Let's go.
Let me pick your brain a little bit.
I love to. And thank you for the opportunity. Again, real quickly,
Stop,
he don't
stop,
like it. No.
Stop.
We got to support the comic creators. I say it every time. The people that are creating content for us is so important, right? Because a lot of us, we love this genre, but they don't have people they can talk to in their life about it.
Yeah.
So when they put your video on, it's like, oh, my friend is here with me, and I'm gonna have a conversation with my friend.
Wow.
So I want to encourage you, put some good comments in for our guy Swaggle and all the other comic creators, the guys that create content for us, right? It's like, man, they're giving a great gift for us. I know I know you don't like it, but really, okay.
I appreciate it.
Sure.
All right. When this comes out,
Okay.
I think we'll be at a point where Mario Brothers has come
Oh,
out.
it's a me.
And I think that movie is going to make $1 billion.
I think that movie's gonna break it. I think that's gonna be the movie that we thought Black Panther was gonna be, the movie we thought Thor was gonna be. I agree with you. It looks amazing.
So let's say it does.
Okay.
We're just coming off of The Last of Us hit show.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling and a suspicion video game comic books are
The,
going to
the,
be...
the ones I've been hoarding and not selling in the boxes for like the last 10 years, those ones?
I have a feeling
Like
all of a sudden Zelda. What about Metroid? What about
Dragon's Lair?
Dragon Lair? You know?
Metal Gear Solid?
Metal Gear Solid. I have a feeling there might be a video game surge.
Mega Man?
Yeah, Mega Man.
Sonic the Hedgehog?
All these characters.
Okay.
So I have a feeling that might be a little bit of a surge, and I'm just curious, boots on the ground style. Well, how do you feel about video game comic books?
I feel the way you just talked about that. Why do we love comics? We love comics because it makes us feel a certain way, right? Why do I love Valiant books besides the inherent awesomeness of them? Is because it takes me back to being 19 years old, to being 20 years old, and going to Frankensons, the world famous Frankensons, and buying Valiant books, and doing it with my friends, and us being crazy kids, and like reading Shadow Man, and reading Harbinger, and being like, oh my gosh, this feeling. And it gives us this nostalgia. So I think video game comics, for sure. A lot of the ones you mentioned, well, especially the Valiant ones, like the Mario Brothers and the Zeldas and all that, those are very hard to find.
Yeah, they are.
I get asked for those frequently. I have some, not as much as I want. I think, though, that when you look at comic books in general and this particular question, what do people feel, right? I will tell you that one of my little things I think is going to come, and it's already coming, is the Batman Adventure cartoons. Of course, Harley Quinn, but that's people's entry point.
Yeah.
Mine was Batman TV show. I'm 51, right? So I'm a little older than some of the people out here. So it was Adam West. What's up, Cal? Adam West, Batman. But for a lot of people, it's Kevin Conroy, right? It's Batman Adventures. So I think it's similar to the video game question because it's like, I think the Mario Bros. Movie is going to make whatever. It's going to be great. I think it's gonna be. It looks really good too. Like everything we could want, right? So I think there is that. I'll give you one other little thing to think about: is 80s horror is right around the corner. There's my friend Cal, one of my mentors right there. That's one of my mentors right there. That's one of my mentors. Is shaking his head. 80s horror is already here. You might not know what they sell for. So I would encourage you again. Buy what you like.
Yeah.
But 80s horror is. I'm talking about Freddy, Jason, Pinhead, Chucky, all that 80s horror stuff is a genre that in a little bit is gonna really, because the kids now, my students, my high school students, they all love horror stuff.
Yeah.
So they're gonna want to go back to the roots of it, right? Which for them is that, right? So it's the same question you're asking, right? It often takes something like the movie or something like The Last of Us to kind of click it over.
Kick off.
And they'll always be the guys like, oh, it's the next Walking Dead. And what I would say is, don't get mad at those guys. Let them say what they want. Do I think it's the next Walking Dead? No.
Yeah.
I don't think anything is the next Walking Dead. It's the next Walking Dead is whatever that's going to be. But there is this TV show as a temple point, and now you look and see the next thing. I think the same thing with the Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah.
But those comic books are already expensive.
Yeah.
They already are expensive, and the horror stuff is already expensive. So that's the kind of stuff where I've been trying to buy that for years. In fact, my friend Jay is like, we get asked for horror all the time. Why don't you bring a box? And I'm like, I should, but really, I kind of want to hold a little bit. You know what I mean? I kind of want to hold it a little bit. So all that stuff, right now I got 4, 5, 6 people asking. When I got 30 people asking, maybe that's what I'm bringing out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As a dealer that's involved in the business side of it.
Right.
And that might be a little not cool, but that's the truth.
Yeah. Well, you got to service the customers when there's the customers.
That's right.
All right. Well, Christian,
we did
I'm
it.
taking up your
we
time.
Did it. My gosh,
So
I
much
rambled.
time.
I rambled like I'm like rambling on over here like the Rolling Stones, dude.
The people always appreciate it. Thank you so much once again.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Yeah.
Everyone,
2023.
Come on, get your swaggle on. What's going on around here? Get your swaggle on.
All right. Well, I am with Will from Torpedo Comics. You know we love Torpedo Comics on the channel.
Thank
Will,
you.
how's the show been so far? We're at WonderCon 2023.
2023 is better than 2022.
Is it?
As far as WonderCon goes for us, at least.
Oh,
I know I've
interesting.
talked to a couple other people. It seems to be the case. Friday was kind of slow. Saturday was very good. It's been a little slow today, but it's been okay. You're seeing more people out. It's weird. It's like most of them it's in just the pop culture area.
Right.
It's like this bathroom area here is like
Right.
once you cross that threshold, it's shoulder to
People
shoulder.
can see.
But yeah, it's been alright. We had some nice sales, so we brought a little bit of everything, as you can see, because right now everything is kind of like you don't really know what people are looking for. Everything's kind of up in the air.
Well, let me ask you about that because it's been interesting in just I've been kind of going around just asking the dealers, and the topic of the conversation, I guess, is here in March of 2023, what are people hunting? What are people buying? And what's been your sense of are there certain things people are going up to you and being like, Will, do you have this book?
Sure. I mean, people are still looking for what they're always looking for. They're looking for those big keys still. That's never going to change, I feel like. But like I said, we literally weren't sure what was going to happen because the market's changed so much.
Right.
Like, silver and bronze is kind of like leveled out, dipped a little bit. It's not, the modern stuff is dipped, it's like crashed. But so there's people like, well, do I buy the modern while it's crashed? Do I go, maybe I should concentrate on my silver stuff? So we have gold, then we have bronze and modern, and it's all been selling.
Yeah.
Which is nice. So we sold a little bit of everything. And CGCs, it's the same. We have like signature series, we have blank covers with art, and then we have modern stuff, old stuff, and a little bit of everything sold.
Right.
So it seems like it's kind of like a free for all right now. Everybody's just just because of the way the market is, they're just picking up whatever they want to pick up right now. It's and I don't know if anybody's really after. There's not a lot of flipping going on right now. You know what I mean? So nobody's really trying to pick up stuff to flip it. I sold the first edition Overstreet the other day to a collector.
Oh,
which
interesting.
made me so happy because he doesn't want to flip it. He just wants to put it in his collection because it's a piece of history, which makes me pretty happy.
That's so cool. I mean, well, so do you get that sense where it's maybe there was a lot of people in the hobby last couple of years that were looking to do the flip thing. Maybe they've kind of exited, and now you might still, of course, that's always going to exist. But now it's a lot of people who. They're just on the hunt for the books that they want.
People are building up their war chests right now. That's what it is. They're getting their ammo together so that when it starts to get going again, they have enough ammo to start. If they want to flip, they can. But I think people are just kind of building stock right now. Because,
kind of a buy and hold situation.
That's where we're at right now, kind of.
What's your general sense? I mean, later on this year, you guys are going to do Torpedo Comics, or Torpedo Comic Con.
Yeah.
Are you guys going to be at San Diego?
Yeah, we'll be San Diego.
So you're going to do that. I mean, what's your kind of outlook, I guess, into the next couple of shows? Will you just sort of do the same, bring just a general sense of, here's some cool books from all ages?
I think we're just going to try to keep. Well, it's all modern, smaller modern keys, so a little bit of bigger modern keys and stuff that's a little bit harder to find, like the more obscure modern keys.
Right.
That's the kind of stuff that I want to bring, so that maybe it sets us apart a little bit because we have the more obscure stuff. So that's probably what I'm going to do. Is I'm probably going to concentrate more on having, a variety of stuff, so that anybody who walks through the door has a chance to pick something up. Whether it's a $20 book or it's, a $20,000 book.
Right.
So.
Well, let me ask you this too. So I bet this has been one of my kind of guesses. At the time of recording this, I think when this video eventually comes out, we're gonna have the Mario Brothers movie come out.
Yeah.
There's been the success of shows like The Last of Us.
Mm-hmm.
I think you had some Metal Gear Solid books on here, or Gears of War maybe.
Yeah,
I
got Gears of War.
God of Thunder.
Yeah.
Gears of War, God of Thunder. What's your sense of video game books, even like outside of this show, and just like?
I think video game books are like if you want video game books, you got to get them now while they're because they're on the rise again.
Right.
And video game books are always
They've always been
always
popular.
worth money.
Right, yeah.
Like we've got the God of War, 1 and 2. Those are impossible right now. So these kind of things, I bought the Gears of War and the God of War because I know the video game stuff is really popping off right now. People are looking for the Ghost Recon one, or there's a lot of different ones. And I got a lot of that stuff built up because I've been looking for it, because I'm like, a lot of the video game stuff, Last of Us, all that stuff has just been blowing up. If it does well, then that opens the floodgates for all the other properties that Nintendo or Sega or any of those guys own to start making, just like Marvel did, and just like DC did. So that could be the next world-building Universal movie thing. Like it could be.
Right.
And if that happens, you're going to see all those old Valiant books go crazy.
Yeah, the Valiant stuff.
And those Valiant books are already very, very valuable.
Right,
Those books are worth a good amount of money as they sit right now. And if that stuff starts to get even more popular in the general public, it's going to be just like the Marvel stuff was and everything. It's the video games. It's just going to explode.
Yeah. Well, Will, thanks again for taking
always.
the time. Really, really appreciate it. And we'll see you at Torpedo Comic Con.
Torpedo Con in San Diego.
All right, I'm back with Jeff. Jeff, it's always good to see you.
Great to see you too.
Yeah, we're at Wondercon 2023. Can you believe it? 2023.
I can, and I hope it's a great year the rest of the year.
Yeah. Well, I've been kind of just going around the show. How we always do is like to talk to all the dealers and everything. And just kind of asking, here we are, March 2023. What are people buying these days? What are you feeling? What are you sensing out there on the floor?
I mean, I think the buying habits are changed a little bit with the economy, obviously, but I have noticed a trend that if you're looking for higher grade stuff, those things go on the first day.
Right, like dealers looking for that really rare stuff.
If you're looking for a first MODOK and you're looking in 6.5, then you can show up when you want. But if you're looking for a first MODOK and you want an 8590 or something like that, that shit's gonna fly in the first.
Right.
You only get so many opportunities to buy that. It's fine to do your homework and it's fine to take your time, and that's fine. But when you see what you want and it's a tougher book to acquire, or it's a horror issue, or it's high grade, or it's a black cover in high grade, or that type of stuff, I wouldn't hesitate on. That's the time you don't hesitate.
Right, and you feel like those collectors that are after that are still aggressive. It's very
very
aggressive market.
Yeah, very aggressive, because there's tons of stuff selling at record highs that people don't talk about enough, because they're not necessarily books that are trending. As an example, like X-Men 35, which is the first time Spider-Man meets the X-Men.
Right.
People talk about those first appearances, first meetings. I think that one's especially important because it's Spider-Man and it's X-Men.
Yeah.
And the other reason why I think it's especially as important is in higher grade, that book's brutal. Those black covers.
It's black, yeah.
Anyone who underestimates high grade DCs and black covers and the deep browns and the deep magentas and in 8.5, 9.0, 9.2, 9.4, 9.6, you pass on that at the right price point. Do not expect that book to be around. Days later you're at a store and it's there. Don't expect it a week later you're going to go back and it's going to be sitting there on the shelf.
Right.
I mean, those you'll be kicking yourself 5 years later when the book's 300%, 500% higher and kick yourself for not buying it.
Right. So then what about, you mentioned that was kind of the dealers and like the people that are sort of the day one players going after those types of things, what they really want. What about like kind of the majority, the Saturday crowd, the Sunday crowd? What do you kind of feel with them?
Yeah, it's definitely more aggressive on the first day or preview night in general for most shows. The second, third days, it seems like it's the people that are
looking for the cheaper run books in general. I mean, I'm not saying bigger books don't fly on later on. I'm just saying that it's a different type of market. It's not as assertive, aggressive. It's, you know what I mean? They're looking for buying opportunities. They're digging. It's the people that are digging and trying to find a diamond in the rough, or something that hasn't been repriced, you know, like a first Modoc or something like that, you know what I mean? That's been on an uptick lately that, you know, or like Blip Magazine 1, which has been on the rise, which I'd highly recommend. Right. Because the
Mario movie.
I mean, I was a big fan of that book way before the movie was even announced, because I just think it's undervalued. And it's been climbing, which, you know, it'll probably go higher. But yeah, there's definitely, you know, even dealers are circling other dealers on the first day and preview night of a show. Right. So yeah, you're looking, for the most part, you're looking at a different market on the second, third day.
I've heard some people talk about, like, do you think it's like a price point thing, where it's like, obviously, you know, like in a bin, if it's $20, you know, between that $20 to whatever $80 range, you know, if I buy something, it goes down to $15, I'm not worried. If I buy a wall book that's $1,000 and it goes down to $800, that hurts.
No, I don't think that's the reason. I think the reason there is you're always going to have collectors that want to buy a key issue at a lower price point, that, you know, on a bargain, and get more bang for their buck. And there's nothing wrong with that. There are also some of the people that are the diehard readers and stuff like that, which is great for the hobby. But I don't think those people are buying the lower grades because they're worried about, you know, what may or may not happen to the market. I think they're just trying to get more bang for their buck. Right. Keys in low grade always sell as much as keys in high grade. It's just totally different price point, obviously. Yeah. But they always sell. Like, you can sell a first Poison Ivy Batman 181 and, you know, 1.5, and you can sell it in 8.5. Both gonna go. Right. You know what I mean? In fact, just so you guys know, I think anyone who's buying, you know, bigger keys and lower grade, they're paying a bigger price point. They're paying a premium, because those books always sell above market. And if it's a $35 book, you know, something like a Batman 179 Second Silver Age Driller in lower grade, if it's a $34 book, like, a dealer can sell that all day long for $65. Right. You know what I mean? You're as a consumer is paying more money for key issues in lower grade. You know, you want to buy a Batman 171, if it's worth $250, like, you're probably not paying $250. You're probably paying $370 or something like that. Right. It's just, you know what I mean? Right. Because there's so many people that are at that level that are pushing it up in that price point. Right. That's why sometimes what you want to do is you want to make sure you're buying in the right price point, because sometimes you'll see a gap. Years ago, like, as an example, like Batman Adventures 12, first Harley Quinn in 9.6 was selling for, I mean, don't quote me, this was a few years ago, before COVID too, but, like, it was selling for maybe like $150 above a 9.4, and the 9.4 was selling for just a little bit above a raw copy of a 8.5 to a 9.2. So you see a big jump. 9.6s were way lower than they should have been, and 9.8s were up here, wherever they were at. Right. It's like silver medal syndrome. Yeah, you know? So it's like you can see when you're at a price point and you see, like, you know what I mean? Big, like, gaps. Yeah, or it's, you know what I mean, should be higher than it is. Right, like, it seems like there's an opportunity there, because the value's not proportional. Right. What about, like, just in general trends? Like, you've noticed anything? A lot of people obviously talking about DC stuff, excited about that. There's I've heard people talk about romance books as well, DC romance, and also just general Golden Age romance. Have you noticed anything like that, as far as, you know, here on the ground floor? I have not had people hit me up lately for romance, but I've had a lot of people hitting us up yesterday and today for Archie's low grade and high grade. The books that are tougher to acquire, the covers that everybody goes for, whether it's superhero or whether it's cartoon or whether it's Scooby-Doo 1 or whether it's an Archie cover that's hot or in demand, or a double entendre sexual innuendo cover, like, they'll always be in demand. Yeah. All right, here we are once again with Brad Sloan
FVF Comics.
Hi, all you comic aficionados.
Brad, always good to see you. Always good to visit you at these Comic Cons. Here we are, Wondercon 2023. I guess I've been kind of going around and asking people just about, this show. We're here in the quarter one, going into quarter two of 2023.
Yeah. It's amazing.
What are people buying these days? What are people buying?
Other than comics?
Well, obviously comic books, but what are people been buying?
For me, it's off the hook. Every small show that there's these free shows that are coming up in Anaheim, like there's Near Mint Sundays, there's Comic Con 626.
Right.
They're doing community centers. They're doing things that are happening. There's a new crowd of comics, and they're asking for things that I haven't sold in years. But at the same time, if you really have the price down to the right price, people are now just saying, I'll take it. They're not even trying to haggle anymore. I have gotten a new percentage profile, and I think that was really the key. Shell shock from the big bubble, people that floated away. So all the new listers, let's call them the fresh inventories, people that haven't listed comics, and look at what they're selling for now. They have hit a good price. It is now a buyer's market. You still, of course, like I would say you have to negotiate, get the best copy, condition for the best price. That's what you do. Now, what are they asking for? What? Casper the Ghost? Huh? Richie Rich? Do you have any DC Romance?
DC
Dude,
Romance.
there is no DC Romance for sale anywhere. If there's 10 centers, they are gone. What used to be, I don't know, $10 in decent grade, they're now selling for like $50. Those big young romance, young love, 100-page spectaculars, $100, $120. It's because you can't find them. Nobody kept them. And I think what's happening is the collectors are truly wanting what they don't see and realizing that they're now affordable to the last moment. Will they be affordable soon? I don't know.
Right. So it's kind of like the hunt, the really obscure, and almost if it's like it's not related to pop culture in any way, it's just like, oh, this is something that's different and interesting. And those are the ones that people are chasing.
Well, certainly the new buyers, because they're getting into comics, they do remember these cartoons, or they might remember Walt Disney. Walt Disney was always the one kind of books. Do I bring romance or do I bring Walt Disney? I don't know. Maybe I'll leave them both home. It's like, right? Well, now you can't leave anything home, it's such a great market to have in your back pocket. Like, what do I have that I haven't brought? So literally, Dell Comics, 4-Color, Golden Age, that is selling because it's still on the cusp of being affordable per grade.
Right.
I just bought and sold in a minute a Batman 3. It didn't even have the centerfold, but it was the first Catwoman in costume, third appearance of the female superhero, bad girl, and I couldn't keep it in my hand. And so, am I looking for those? Yes, I want those. You want those, but even then, you don't have to spend $2,000 or $3,000. Some of these Golden Age, and if I'll have swag, go over to this little wall here.
Yeah.
And some of these fun Golden Age, those are the ones that people are now saying, whoa, yeah, and they're investment quality and affordable. So let's say you had the choice to buy, I don't know, first Batgirl in like a 6.5, and they wanted, I don't know, maybe $1,500, when you can get a fine copy of Superman under number 20.
Right.
It's a no-brainer. You got to do it, and you got to put the word out. Just keep asking. Hey, do you have any old comic books find them in the nest, get them out, birth them into humanity.
Now, yesterday you were telling me about some other interesting comic books that were moving quite a bit. We're talking about the collector anniversary ones.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about that stuff.
Well, you know what's really happening? People are catching on to these short run stuff. And Marvel 25th, if I have a few, let me see if I do. So these are those framed profile superhero books. Some are profile, some are straight on, but we call them frame profile. They're all kind of matching covers. They did every single title of these. And the hard ones are to find, like the FF double size, Daredevils, the good ones. This is a classic X-Men reprint, but it's a brand new cover. And again, these are catching on. The hard ones, try to find these Star Comics, whatever they had, if it's Smurf or Fraggle Rock, or try to find the Masters of the Universe one.
So do you think that there's a push to this stuff because it's like, you know, obviously there's a nostalgia factor for things like that, and then there's a set that people want to kind of collect this set.
It's a finite set.
It's a finite set. So do you find that at all as like being sort of trends, like people having their list of things that they want to go for their goals of collection they want to hit?
Well, I'm finding out that that's happening right now.
Right.
So you asked me what's the trend.
Right.
And honestly, just a week ago, somebody wanted to fill some of those. So then during the week before I came here, I priced a bunch of them, and I sold half the stack.
Right.
Because now 4 people asked me. So when 4 people ask me for something, if I don't come back to the next show with 4 copies, am I doing my job? No.
Right.
That's how I do it. I keep track in my mind. What were people looking for? Go get them. And sometimes I'll have to pay market, especially if it's like a high grade or graded one. Just get it.
Right.
And put it on the wall. And I said, don't you remember when you asked me for that book? Well, look here, I got it in 9.4. And it kind of makes them all nervous. They start sweating. You have it? You have that?
Yeah, because now they have to buy it. So you were telling me that like people were asking for all different things. They got they want the 25th anniversary stuff. They want the romance. They want this DC romance. They want the wall books, whatever. Do you think that that's different than say Rewind the Clock a year ago? Where do you feel like it's just more spread, like because all different collectors, all different interests, and there's less of a chase to like I have to get the mega key?
It is so different, and yet a little of the same. When you really think about it, in this business, in this collectible arena, you have everything. I had a kid, had to be 10 years old, bought an Avengers 2.
Great book.
I had an adult who saw something online and said, do you have it? And I just happened to, and you don't know what it's going to be. So the problem that I'm having is I got to bring everything. I can only bring all that I can fit in my truck, but I have a garage full of stuff, so it's kind of daunting to really know what's going to happen. So what I try to do is say, hey, I know I have those. I know I have a run of them, probably triplicate of that. Marvel Universe. Somebody asked for Marvel Universe. Huh? Star Brand or something like that?
Right.
I mean, who? And I know I just got this high-grade 80s collection, and I would never put that into the marketplace. I thought, what? Okay, here's my card. I'm going to fill your want list, and they're going to be mint. That's what's happening.
Right.
Now there's still mega key, but the mega keys are slow sale, and they want you to match the lowest GPA. I don't do that. I've never done that. It's not my responsibility to match grade point average. It's you as a buyer to make sure you pay right. But I don't have to be that lowest guy. There's always some auction, some seller, some eBay auction that ended at 4 a.m. and the guy didn't get what he wanted. I don't have to match that price.
Right.
Now, what I know is I make sure my graded books are good graded books, meaning that I like the grade. I know it's a 6.5 when it's a 6.5. Maybe it even looks like a 7. I don't get the 6.5 that looks like a 5.
Right.
And it means I will let you get the 6.5 that looks like a 5.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you about that part of it, the wall book stuff. Sometimes I'll get in my comments and stuff and be like, oh, my LCS still has a 2021 price on their comic book on their wall or whatever. And it seems like those ones, like you said, a little bit slower to move. But it felt like what you were also talking about, if it's priced right, there's still that demand for it. Like, well, how do you balance that as someone like a dealer, where you have maybe some wall books that are above market, but you want to move them, you might drop it because there's going to be people that swoop it in. Like, what's your feeling on that? Sort of the coming off of the peak 2021 price.
Well, let's just have a dose of reality. The bubble is over. As I said, there's a new norm for how the price begin and how it goes. Now, I am upside down on some key books. Let me show you.
Aren't we all?
Bought that in 2020. Bought that in 2020. Bought that in 2020. Bought that in 2020. 2020. It's because in 2000, right before it all happened, I got my number for the ones I had, and I said, well, I've got to put them back there. So let me see. Oh, that's how much you're selling for. Let me get a little percentage off, and let's go. Well, I'm not going to lose money on those books. I mean, I don't care if those are the last books I ever have. They're eye candy. They're what draws people to the show. They want to see that. Now, will I tell them, yes, I bought it in 2020. Oh boy, I want 13. It might be only 11. I'm still not going to go down. But my new thing is to get to the right price on almost everything else. That means you tell me, I'm going to give you a discount. Now let's talk. Is that my final price? No. And that's why I'm selling off the hook. This show's been the best Wondercon I've ever done because I'm finally getting the feel of let's go a little lower. Let's take a wall book and not just do 10%, but not everything.
Right.
I'm just saying, not across the board. So what's happening is there are a lot of people that have 20 and 21 prices. Now, what I'm telling buyers is love the grade, scrutinize, compare like grades. Look at pictures of every 7.0 copy you've ever seen graded. Get the one that's like an 8. And then paying a 21 price isn't so bad.
Right. Well, I hope you all enjoyed that video. Once again, I want to say thank you to all of the dealers who took the time to speak with me. I put their socials in the description, so go give them a follow if you like what they had to say. Thanks so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video.